Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. Wow, nice market here today. Quick little pop up to that $148 mark and then right back down. Again, keep in mind, Solana is following Bitcoin pretty much to a T here in the last 24 hours, but we're potentially finding our bottom, seeing a little bit less downside, or more important, a little bit more support at this lower level here. We'll talk about that. I also want to recognize too that on the daily time frame, people are asking about what do you mean when you say daily candlestick closure? And to clarify, since we haven't closed above that 144 mark, or we never did yesterday officially, that implies that this excellent chart, that long position I was looking for, is invalidated, or at least temporarily invalidated, until today's candlestick closes above that. So again, you're really looking for the candlestick to close at that level or higher. Right now at this point, there's no real indication that that long position we were looking for is valid. Again, just some, kind of throwing it out there so you understand that. Some folks like to ask those questions, and I'm glad you do. I'm here to kind of help, ideally address those things for you. What we also want to look at here is liquidation to start, and quickly note kind of where we're at with that. And before we get started, folks, hit the like button. Get this in front of more people here who deserve a fighting chance to stop getting destroyed by the market. Again, there's no moon boys here, and it's okay if that's your thing, but you're not going to find that. I'm just going to always give you straightforward, honest advice, really. And again, the market is as gray as can be, because again, a lot of gray areas. It's never just transparently black or white, goes up or down. It's always changing. If we take a look here, we can see some late shorts at about 148 to 150. There is probably good, somewhere in the range of 1 to 2 billion in liquidation at about 150, just as a round number. So we revisit that range, we can presume the price will at least spike up to clear that level. Okay. Take a look here as well, 140 and below, a lot of liquidation there as well. We can probably see it a little clearer if we zoom out and we take a look at our macro. We can see 139 to 138, somewhere in the range of about $2 billion at that level, and we're close to that, all right? So keep in mind, when you see these concentrations here, both sides have a pretty heavy, $2 to $2.5 billion in liquidation. We want to recognize that that is a very relevant thing, okay? But with us being close to the downside, it would seem to be sensible the price may continue lower. We're also going to talk about this rising wedge pattern, which are generally construed as a bearish sign. Take a look here at the daily, though, first of all. Just quickly note the moving averages. We wicked up above the 20-day SMA, rejected closer to the 200, and came right back down. Keep in mind, that has nothing to do with the actual price action. It's mostly because Bitcoin pulled back. Solana would be just fine right now if Bitcoin didn't rake down by a good 2 to 3%. Having said that, now that Bitcoin is in its current position, we can presume that we might see further downside for Solana for a few reasons. We're below the point of control here. First of all, we got to close above that. All the more reason why I've kind of talked about that being an important level at 144 or higher. We can also see too, as well, if you look at the moving averages, and this is consistent across the board with most coins, we're still under 50 on the RSI. We haven't broken bullish. There's no reason to get crazy with any long positions. I don't think you should get crazy with short positions either. And it's funny, somebody in the community, kind of like a general member, they were mentioning are you chicken to take a short trade? It's like, no. Just because I want to say pump the brakes and don't take a long or a short, it doesn't imply that that is the case. I mean, majority of our trades this month, in fact, I think 75% of our trades have all been short positions, and majority of those are hitting good 30, 40, 50% profit targets. So again, there's money to be made in either direction, but at this point, it's best to kind of wait on the sidelines until there's a definitive direction. It does look like we're deciding to go down at this point. We got stochastic still swinging down, money flow index tapering off, MACD potentially FUing itself out here. If we take a look at the 4 hour, it might be a very similar circumstance there. We've got a MACD divergence in the 4 hour. That's generally unfavorable, and we do take a look here, and we can look at the price action. This most recent low, we saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 4 hour candles closing above that range. So 142 was a solid support level yesterday. All right. Now that we see that, we recognize that we're below that tentatively. We can presume that might be the new resistance for us. Okay. Once again, breaking below that level is generally construed as a breakout in the opposite direction, in this case here, going down. But we also got this rising wedge pattern where we're breaking that ascending trend line. And the likelihood of the price action coming back up to perform a bearish backtest off this local fib level at 143, 144 is higher. Okay, so again, an optimal place for a short entry would be closer to 144 at this point. Once more, that's just because we've broken tentatively bearish. Is this exact? Is this perfect? No. Bitcoin can turn around like a manic depressant crazy person and shoot straight to the moon. And again, I say that sarcastically because obviously that's not really a thing. Going to the moon is not super, not relevant in current market, but it's also important to recognize that that's how crazy the crypto market is. It could very well happen. You can't rule it out. All right. Again, all that being said, I don't feel, for the record, I don't feel Bitcoin's going to take off anytime soon, but I do think Bitcoin is on the verge of a big move, either down or up, because we keep compressing closer to a lot of important moving averages. Most of them are rejecting the price action now. We got a bull trap essentially set up from yesterday when the price broke over 60K. People went long at 60K. Now they're getting destroyed. Once again, liquidity is getting swept in every direction, and it's just a nasty market. So I want to emphasize being careful and not over trading right now. So it's just important to do that. And again, just be very careful and over trading is probably the first thing you could do to destroy your account. The second thing you could do to destroy your account is not be patient. So at this point, when we got this kind of unique transition, let's wait for that bearish backtest of that trend line first, or perhaps consider that instead of trying to catch a falling knife, right? Because a late short right now could very well also be very treacherous. Okay, anyways, we're under 50 on the RSI, stochastic swinging down, MACD's diverging, we're under all moving averages. These are bearish signs. The majority of the time when you see that, the likelihood of the price breaking straight through that is pretty low. Okay, it's going to take a lot more volume. And if you look at this volume candle here, it's a pretty significant volume candle to the downside, right? It implies it's going to take longer for the price action to recover. So if we do see recovery, it'll look something like this, where it'll probably take a full 24-hour period before it recovers instantly. Okay. So again, I know we've seen stranger things, and stranger things can totally happen, but the logic here is sound, in which we want to be patient, we want to wait for confirmation. So let's see if the price can close above specific levels first. Once again, we've already defined this line here, 142. We close below 142 for Solana. I think that's a pretty definitive. The price is going to go down further. Again, we compare this with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is looking to be on the struggle bus, and there's no real way around it. Okay, but again, if Bitcoin does recover to say to 60K, which is still possible, or even 61, for example, then we will see Solana recover in kind, right? We got to recognize that there's a distinct correlation here. But we have broken below the cloud. Conversion line is now below the baseline. And of course, we got the lagging span free and clear. These are 3 out of 3 reasons on the hourly time frame to consider a short position. Okay, that in combination with this descending trend breakout leads me to believe, that's an ascending trend breakout to the downside. I'm speculating we're going to see further downside here. Again, if we do take a look at liquidation, we are closer to this 138 to the 140 range. And just to clarify, there's roughly, plus or minus $2 billion in liquidation there. So if you're going to consider a take profit target, again, anywhere between 138 and 142 is appropriate. Again, mainly because we have that previous support range. This is, of course, going to be a new support range if we come back into it, and that would be an area to consider securing profits. Do not get greedy. Try not to take Solana to zero. The probability of that happening is pretty low. While we could still see the 110 to 120, maybe even 130 range, we got to kind of play it safe between now and then, and just consider securing profits between there. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll update our fib levels here. I'll go ahead and post this playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. So go ahead and take a look at that there. We'll make sure that is kind of a relevant understanding of what I just communicated here in the video. And then obviously you want to consider taking a trade either direction. Let me know, but I'm very curious what your thoughts are if you have them. What are you planning to do here? Me personally, I think a short at 144 seems appropriate if we even get there. But again, there's a lot of different significant scenarios here that could happen, and it may be best to wait at the very least to see where Bitcoin closes. 59K or higher, 59K or lower, that could determine a lot of price action moving forward. Once more, patience is key, folks, here. Appreciate you being patient and obviously learning as much as you can. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video. We'll look forward to seeing you next one. Have a good rest of your day.